Hi, my name is Susannah Kearon, and I'm a student educator here at the MOA. And for my mini tour today, I chose this piece by Bruce Smith called Dispensation of Virtue. And I chose this piece because I love the stories of healing from the New Testament, and I particularly love this story of the woman with the issue of blood. Here we see the crowd and kind of thronging Christ and moving forward as he's being rushed off to another healing, the healing of the daughter of Jairus. And so we kind of see with these repeated diagonal lines kind of a forward motion. Again, back here we see more diagonal lines that look to me almost spear-like, creating the kind of atmosphere that I would imagine for a tumultuous battle scene. The facial expressions of the figures in the background in the crowd are kind of blurred, and they look all over the canvas, looking around at different points, but they fail to look at Christ. The one figure who does look at Christ is this woman seeking to be healed. What I love about Smith's depiction of this scene, and what I think is kind of unusual and unique, is that he paints the woman standing up. In a lot of other depictions I've seen, the woman is usually painted seated or lying down as she reaches out for the hem of Christ's garment, or the part of his garment associated with his priesthood power. But in this work, she stands as she reaches for his garment. And I think that's interesting because in the Luke account of this story, it describes how after Christ feels the virtue or the power go out of him, he asks who it was that touched him. And Peter and the other disciples say, you know, you're in a crowd, it could have been anyone. But he asks a second time who it was that touched him. And then it says that the woman knows that she can't hide, and she comes forward trembling, and then she falls at Christ's feet and declares to the crowd why it was that she touched him and that she had immediately been healed. So to me, this painting really captures the woman's courage in this moment of standing up and owning up to being the one who's touched Christ. Because of her issue of blood, she would have been considered ritually unclean in contemporary society and would have been treated as an outcast. And by touching Christ, she was making him unclean as well. So to come forward and to declare that it was her who had touched Christ is a really brave and faith-filled moment, and I think that's really captured in this image here. This idea, I think, is also emphasized through the hands in the work. I think the hands, they're enlarged, and so they're able to draw more attention and do a lot of the communication in the work, whereas the facial expressions remain kind of blurred. So the woman here reaches forward with both hands in a gesture that to me seems both hesitant and faith-filled. We see this hand here trying to prevent Mary from making contact with Christ, possibly alluding to Peter as one of the more typically protective disciples of Jesus. And then we see Christ turning with his hand outstretched, as if to return the gesture of the woman in a kind of reciprocal movement, as if to say to her, "Be of good comfort, your faith has made you whole, go in peace." The feet also play kind of a more prominent role in this work, and what I think is interesting is that all of the figures are barefoot and don't have shoes, which kind of indicates that this is holy ground that they're standing on, whether the figures at the time knew it or not, that this is the site of a miracle. A final feature of this work that I love is Smith's use of color. Christ here stands out in a bold, bright red that contrasts with the darker colors of the figures in the background. And to me, that signifies that he has literally taken upon him the blood of this woman and left her clothed in white, a color that represents purity and cleanliness. So to me, this is a reminder of how Christ can take on our diseases, both spiritual and physical, our sins, our pains, our weaknesses, and leave us with a blank slate and a sense of renewal. If you'd like to see this work or any of our other religious pieces in our Rend the Heavens exhibition, head on over to the MOA before May 14th when this exhibition will close. I hope that you too can have an experience of renewal as you look at some of these amazing, thought-provoking works.